You must love this Scotty Scheffler Belichick talk, Professor. I'm sure it's inspiring.
But you do it every week. Like you were so far up Scotty Scheffler's ass.
I did text you yesterday.
That
I thought you might want to tune in.
We've talked about it a million times. I don't get it. We hate on all these guys. The new one, Myles Garrett. Ooh, he was speeding, and like people are freaking
That's
out.
his eighth ticket, though. Would you still have a license?
But you know what? The difference is, I would be in prison for 30 years if I drug a cop behind a car. And you guys not only don't mention that, not only forgive it, you suck up. And by the way, again, let's remind that this is a guy who chokes and cries at the Ryder Cup, and you people are, oh, Scotty Scheffler, like every time he goes to play the Ryder Cup, goes out of his way to humiliate America while trying to kill cops. Oh my God, speeding! Yeah, that's the end of the world. But Scotty Scheffler runs over a freaking cop. And we're all like, oh, okay, no big deal. Scotty's a good dude. What about him and his son? Look, he holds up his son after every tournament. What a charming man. What a wonderful. I hope my kids grow up to be like him, attempted cop murderers. Yeah, great guy.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Good to have you guys with us here on this 9/11, 24 years ago. One of the things that I feel fortunate about, even though short-term memory, recognition of certain people that should be easily recognizable. You see somebody on TV and you're going, that's as you get up there in years. But I've always been able to envision things that happen to me in my life. And there are certain things that occur, certain dramatic events that take place where you can envision exactly where you were, what you felt like, what your reaction was, who was with you. One of them would be, I still remember standing listening to the PA system in high school, junior high school, when Kennedy was shot. And the announcement came over that the president had been, there was an assassination attempt. He wasn't pronounced dead right away, but the announcement was made, and I can still see myself standing there in that science class. I think I was approaching the teacher's desk, and the PA system rang out with that. And of course, 9/11, today being the 24th anniversary. Now, you were a 14-year-old Lubie at the time?
No, I was a freshman in college. I was in geology lab. Geology lab, because I always had to have an 8 o'clock in the morning class, and like halfway through the class,
That's right. You would have been 18.
I was 18. Halfway through the class, they like stopped the class, sent us home. No one knew what was going on, and the first plane had hit the first tower, so we all thought it was like, what moron flies into the tower by accident? Like, how stupid are you? Because it looked like a stupid ass little plane. And my buddy's dad was in New York, like watching it. He was in Queens, and he could see it. He was on the tower, not the tower. I'm sorry. He was on the top of the building, and right when he started looking, he watched the second plane hit, and then I was like, "Oh, something weird's happening."
That was when the reality certainly sunk in. I do remember I was on the air with the first team, WQAM. We were in the studios on. They were located on 441 at the time. Wasn't the little bandbox on Sheridan Street. They'd already moved the operation. I'm on the air with Joe Rose, Steve Goldstein, and at that time we actually had like a couple of producers on the show. One serving as the board operator / engineer, and then another producer that just kind of was hanging out there in the production room. And sure enough, a sales guy who's still very much active on social media that I catch from time to time. Always wish this guy well. A guy named John Jarris comes running into the studio and says, hey, a plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. And I was just like you, Lubie. I thought, oh, geez, what kind of clown flew a plane into the World Trade Center? And you thought it wasn't going to be nearly as tragic as it eventually became. And then the second plane hit, and then we knew it was a game on. I believe it was late in the show, so we were on from 6 to 10. I'm going to say it was around 9 o'clock.
It was like 9 something. It was like 9 something. Yeah.
We've been droning on about the Miami Dolphins and whether or not the Hurricanes were any good, and then all of a sudden we had this. and stunned disbelief. I do remember the board operator / producer was a guy named Robert Grieper, who oddly I had nicknamed the Grim Reaper, Robert Grieper, because he was always bummed out. And he immediately shouted out after that second plane hit, Bin Laden, which I wasn't that aware of Bin Laden and his terrorist activities. I mean, seen the name around, but would not have necessarily assumed that this was what it was tied to. And sure enough, he was on the money with that. And then we saw the tragedy unfold. And so here we are, 24 years later, Mike Lubie Lubitz. And what was the big story yesterday? A political assassination, I guess you would qualify it as that, with this Charlie Kirk guy, who I wasn't that familiar with. I don't know. Were you as familiar? I mean, you're more in tune with what the youth of America is doing today than I am at 74. But I didn't realize how much of an influence this guy was on the conservative movement. Seemed to be, and it was weird too, because now everything is politicized and very unfortunate. I mean, look, no matter what your beliefs are, I mean, unless you're doing something terrible to people, which apparently this guy wasn't. I mean, if he's trying to convince people to believe in things that, as the song goes, when you believe in things that you don't understand, if he's trying to convince people that the Trumpster's on the right side and that this is really the way to go for America, he's certainly entitled to go out there and do that as long as he's not harming anybody. But it was kind of odd, ironic yesterday. I guess the Trumpster got up there and made one of those addresses to America, which he looked horrified. And this was a guy that many people credit with helping him get elected by being a voice for younger people. Mm-hmm. And the Trumpster's talking about, well, we can't create this kind of divisiveness. I'm like,
as he's blaming the Dems.
Yeah, I mean, as he's fanning the flames and talking about the radical left. So I mean, it became ugly, but the bottom line is you wouldn't wish this upon anybody, even your worst enemies, to have some guy take a punch at the guy who's 31 years old.
Well, my side doesn't. That's the funny thing about all this. The one party that does is the one party that is always aghast when it happens. Yeah. Then they start blaming. Then it always comes out that it's one of theirs, because they're the ones that scream violence. Literally every big Democrat yesterday screamed, "Don't be violent. Violence is bad." Yeah. A Republican said, "Blame the Dems. Go after the Dems." It's like, hello, guys. Don't talk about narratives when it's clear what's happening.
I thought there was a little bit of, I don't even want to call it irony. It was just a total hypocrisy.
Well, I didn't realize this because I'm on the socials and I see all the very right-wing lunatic fringe influencers. People clearly don't know who Charlie Kirk is, because I've heard people literally say,
I wasn't really.
He was a gentle soul and he preached love. And it's like, what? He's the one that literally said some murders are necessary to keep guns. Openly saying guns are more important than human life. He's the one that literally said empathy is stupid.
Yes.
The thing that separates us from animals, the only thing that makes, because animals are smart. Supposedly octopus are smarter than humans. Yeah. The only thing that separates us is we care about our fellow human. That's the only thing. He openly said that's dumb. He openly said that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, when I started looking more into it.
It's crazy. It's interesting that people don't know who he is. Like, they just didn't know who he was. Like, people were I'm like, look, man, political violence should never happen.
Never happen, yeah. I mean, you don't want some guy taking a pot shot at a guy.
But don't change who someone was. Like, don't go, no, you might have seen these debates that he's doing. That's not how he got big. He got big on a podcast where he ranted and screamed hate, divide. And the George Floyd thing, he was one of the preeminent people screaming the most ridiculous, psychotic crap. Like, again, it's sad. He had a wife, kids. Yeah. I don't want this to happen, but we keep doing this. We keep forgetting who people are, and then it keeps happening again. Like, you have to remember who people are, and that's the only way things change. And it's just literally the way that they reacted yesterday is so strange. Every Democrat,
really was bizarre, yeah.
Political violence is bad. We condemn this. We never. I feel so bad for his family. And the right's like, those Dems, those freaking Dems. It's like, what? What are you guys doing? Like,
they didn't have no idea who did it. I mean, they didn't even catch the guy.
Well, it's always one of theirs. I'm not trying to be mean. It is. It's always a white guy who's MAGA and either goes after the Dems or is the right's not crazy enough for them anymore. So they have to go like, and I'm not even trying to blame. We find out every time it's a white male MAGA. Like,
yeah.
So don't start blaming. Just own it and maybe change the rhetoric. Yes, there is rhetoric, but it's not from the left. The left are the ones that every time say the same thing. We hate this. We don't like this. We don't want this. This should not happen. It's not the left that stokes fire. He literally was, don't stoke the flames, stoking the flames. Like,
Oh, no doubt. I mean, so some of the things the guy was saying were lunatic variety. But that being said, I mean, look, no one would condone going out and shooting somebody. I mean, you didn't have to listen to him. That's part of it also. So, I mean, look, while we are showing empathy for it. It was interesting that the reaction was immediately to start pointing fingers at people with no idea what the hell happened there. And a very strange occurrence. And the day before 9/11. So here we are 24 years later, and the world is just as big a mess, if not more so. So that's not very encouraging. All right. We have week number 2 of the NFL kicks off tonight. But we do want to pay tribute to the people that were affected, impacted. I think everybody was in some way by the 9/11 attacks. And I don't think that is something that should ever go, and people always say this, should never be forgotten. And I would venture to say that it never will be. So we will move on to more frivolous things here. Like the National Football League starts tonight. We have the Trivia Challenge coming up on the show. Dave Gurggles Gergely is going to join us, and we'll have your chance to win some fabulous prizes, including a Landlubber's gift certificate, possibly a Texas Roadhouse gift certificate. We had Ed Garcia on yesterday. That would never happen at a Texas Roadhouse, would it? Where they told you, hey, put in your order, and it may be an hour before you get your food.
Oh, no.
That is a weird situation. You got a sports bar, and you're open on a Sunday, and everybody shows up like at 12:30. You have all of a sudden you're seating 250, 300 people, and they all want to order at once. Did create quite a bit of chaos. Now, week number 2 of the NFL. What are the big questions, Lubie? What are you looking at this week? I wrote down a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if I can read it because I scribbled it while tending to Skippy, who's having some major issues in his old age here and is exhibiting some very bizarre behavior. So I'm going to have to watch that one and monitor that very carefully. You know how much I love this dog. But, all right. So the big question in New York is, at what point does Brian Daboll play Jackson Dart?
I mean, they're already asking for it now, right?
I mean, after week 1, they're saying this guy should be in there. Should he be in there? Well, what do you think, Lubie? I mean, if you had Russell Wilson, you were trying to win some games. Now, it's a very precarious situation with multiple layers to it because Daboll has to know that his ass is grass if the Giants don't. What would they have to do for him to save his job? Finish 500 or better? Improve by several games this year? This Joe Shane was highly regarded as a general manager, and they're at the point now, after 4 years at the helm, where it's their team. We have a similar situation here. Mike McDaniel cannot claim, well, look at this mess. I mean, he can't go Trump and blame Joe Biden for the state of the Miami Dolphins.
No. This is his team.
This team has his fingerprints all over it, in conjunction with Chris Greer and whoever else is making these decisions. But that's the big issue, and it's whether or not Daboll has the ability to decide when is the right time to bring in Jackson Dart. They're not even debating whether or not that he should be the starter at some point this year. What we saw in the preseason would indicate that he was more than ready, no? Named after the concept, named after a racehorse of the very same name. More than ready, would you say, off what you saw in the preseason, that was enough to convince you that you should throw this guy into the fire? Now, if you do it too soon, and it does damage to the guy, and that's the big negative if you just throw the guy out there. And also, what are you saying to Russell Wilson? And I guess Jameis is an afterthought at this point. But if you're a Giant fan, what do you want to see these guys do? That would be a question. And what? The task is not going to be easy this week because they're going to Dallas to play the Cowboys, who actually gave a pretty good account of themselves in week number 1 and losing by 4 to the Philadelphia Eagles. And are you safe to assume that the Giants have no chance in this game? What do you think?
They don't have a lot of a chance.
6-point dogs to the Cowboys on the road.
I mean, I don't know.
The Cowboys game against the Eagles was far more impressive than the Giants were against the Commanders, who played tonight.
Oh, they hung around in that game, and it came down to the wire. I mean, I get it. Jalen Carter wasn't in it from the beginning, and he probably would have had something to say about the outcome of that game. But they are known to have depth on the defensive line, and they controlled it. I mean, the Cowboys' offense was a lot better than it was supposed to be in that game. I don't know. The Giants are very reminiscent of the Dolphins. They have a defensive line that's supposed to be good, that isn't always as good as it should be, and they have an offensive line that for 4 years now they haven't been able to fix. So
Yeah.
that's it. I put a dart out there because you already gave Wilson a shot, and you know what he's going to be.
One game, that's it. You yanked the guy.
I mean, if you want to wait 3 or 4 games, you can. I mean, the Cowboys' defense was solid, but it's not like it's scary. I don't know. It's coming. You know it's coming. So if you want to wait 3 or 4 games, that's fine. Just to let him get into the flow behind Russell, see what it is. But he's not making it much longer than that. I mean, it's clear they want him to play. It's clear he looked good in the preseason, and it's clear Russell Wilson's just done.
All right, we have to get to the trivia challenge, but I want to run these by you, Lubie. You pick one or whatever you think is the big question here, and maybe you have one of your own.
I mean,
was it the coordinators all along in Detroit? We're going to find out a little bit more about that. Many people speculate it was Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn making news today. He pulled one of those Jimmy Johnson type of moves where he cut a guy that was not of great significance because he made a big mistake in week number 1, a guy named Xavier Gibson. You talk about cold. I've been, I think I got fired twice in my radio career, actually canned. And the first one was as cold as any. I actually showed up for work that day, and then the guy realized that he forgot to fire me. Over the weekend. It was a transition from a Friday to a Monday. They already had my replacement, and this guy was known to be coming there to the program director a couple of weeks before. Never said a word, of course. They always, hammer you at the last second because they don't want you to say anything disparaging about the station while you're still on the air. And it was ice cold. I actually discovered it. I happened to have to drop a note off. I was there on a Sunday, and I was dropping a note off in the program director's office. Guy named Keith Isley. Was a pretty effective program director. Never said a word. He was well respected in the business, and I had respect for him. But he only communicated by scathing indictment. He would send you a memo, and it was very brilliantly written, and reduce you to the point where you thought you were no better than mouse crap. And no matter what, even if you had a very inflated opinion of what your performance was all about, and people are patting you on the back, telling you how great you are, and then this guy would send you something criticizing your work, it was Sarny-esque. I mean, it was just like, whoa, this show really does suck. Unbelievable. How could we not be talking about women's college volleyball at the top of the show? I mean, look, Texas was playing Louisville last night. That's a big game. Yeah, I mean, to cut a guy in this cold fashion. Now, it's not like if Garrett Wilson dropped 4 passes or if Sauce Gardner gave up 5 touchdowns over the top. Do you think that Aaron Glenn would have cut either of those guys?
No,
of course not.
He would gain a lot of respect by going out and holding them accountable. But being as a first-year coach, I don't see him doing that.
Yeah. Well, he made a move. I remember when Jimmy he came into the meeting room early on, and he said, "There's one guy who's made the team so far, and it wasn't Marino. It was like Larry Izzo that he had put on the roster, and that was kind of a statement like everybody's going to be accountable here, and you're going to have to prove yourself over and over again, no matter what kind of superstar you are." So this guy Gibson dropped he fumbled a kickoff return in the Jets' loss to the Steelers, and it was a big turning point in that game. And so, and he was a guy that sort of barely made the squad anyway. What kind of message are you sending by cutting the guy? That everybody's accountable, or that you're just an asshole? What would you say, Lubie?
I mean, the latter.
I mean, would that make the rest of the guys on the team say, "Oh, wow! I mean, if this guy could get cut," or is it just an example of you're literally using a human sacrifice? You're handing some guy, some poor schmuck, a copy of the classifieds because he made one mistake in a ballgame. However critical it may have been. What do you think? Anybody can drop a ball, right? I mean, you watch the way. I mean, guys are getting pounded. I don't know how anybody hangs on to the football. Were you a big fumbler when you were playing football? I mean, were you inclined to, as soon as a guy got near you and breathed on you, you would cough up the ball? I don't know. It's not the easiest of things to do, but I don't know. Should one mistake lead to a guy, and all of a sudden he's off the team? Is that a message that you can appreciate as another player and say, I better shape up here? What do you think? Because anybody can make a mistake. Are you not going to make guys even more tense, especially the guys at the bottom end of your roster? Or all of a sudden is everybody going to become like they had Stickum, like they were Lester Hayes and never drop a ball again. What do you think?
I mean, you tend to want guys to be held accountable because it usually has them focus at a level that they weren't before. Yes, in some areas of life, you would rather have someone be easier on you, but we've seen that's the Mike McDaniel problem, right? Is that not that he's screaming, I don't care about any of that, but that he supposedly lets guys off very easy. And if you just let guys off easy all the time, they eventually are like, like it's the NFL. They're getting paid. They shouldn't need the motivation, but you've seen they do.
One fumble. Eddie, you remember this? This term probably is foreign to you, but when you got kicked off the team, they called it getting chucked back in the days in Brooklyn. So they chucked this guy for fumbling a football, and he's no longer on the roster. That was kind of interesting. Rodgers in Pittsburgh, I guess, is going to be intriguing to watch here. The Chiefs, could they fall to 0-2? A lot of questions. All right, we'll get to all of this towards the end of the show because we want to squeeze in. Dave Gurggles Gergely always has a big agenda. We want to bring him on the program here as soon as we can. Look at Gurggles, the skinny man. What's happening, David?
All quiet on the Western Front. I remember, like yesterday, when 9/11 hit, I was at the Athletic Club, and it was my second co-host job with the Mad Dog in the Touchdown Club. So after changing, getting my workout in, and went over there, and Jim had the Touchdown Club members. He said, guys, we're not going to have a program today. We're just going to respectively see what's going on here. It was, definitely unbelievable. But, I've got a couple 9/11 related questions today as well.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And I'm ready to go when you guys are.
All right. We're going to do it. We'll give out the number here, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Heavy agenda today. We have a lot to get to, too. College football is cranking up again. Some disparity of opinion in terms of this South Florida game. Most of the handicappers I saw or that are in print here in my New York Post, they have like 7 guys analyzing these college football games. Almost all of them in unanimity are all over the University of Miami to cover 17 and a hook.
Wow.
I don't feel that way at all. So I'm either going to look really stupid or feel like, hey, well, what do these guys know? And some other good college games on the slate. Some other things going on. You got Canelo and Terrence Crawford coming up on Saturday night on Netflix. Tomorrow we'll have the commissioner on, Randy Gordon, to help us analyze that. But many people, including me, and usually I have a fairly good idea of which way I'm going to go in a fight. And I'm reluctant to give a pick on either side in this one. Still haven't quite figured out what's going to transpire. My initial lean was Canelo, and I'm slowly being talked out of it by a variety of people and various things that I'm taking a look at. So we'll come back with the trivia challenge. And Dave Gurggles Gergely, 954-417-0070 in a moment. Play as many as we can, and we'll get right back to you in a moment. Now that 8:30. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubber's Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante. The Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici just switched the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, ready for the challenge on Thursday. We have Dave Gurggles Gergely with us. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz, and you can dial us up and join us and compete for the top prize and the distinction of being a champion here on the show at 954-417-0070. The dulcet tones of the Polyman to introduce a segment here. Always a classic with his rendition of O Solo Volante and any reference to the great Luca Panici, who had a win at Colonial last week. I noticed that. He was on the 4-ball, and the track announcers say, yeah, and Luca Panici. And I'm like, Luca Panici, what's he doing there? My God. So always rooting on our friends. And then, of course, I bet a couple of Panici horses later on that weekend at Gulfstream, and was under the heading of Lose My Number, where I don't want to hear any more about these 20-1 shots that end up finishing last. All right. Dave, are you ready to go? In honor of the Polyman and the traditions of the program, we'll begin the game in the fashion that the Polyman would, with some
easy baseball. This 50-year-old catcher turned actor turned play-by-play man on his Hall of Fame status said, I asked the baseball writers why they hadn't elected me to the Hall of Fame. They told me they thought I was still playing. Was that Bob Uecker, Bob Barker, Fess Parker, or Parker Brothers Monopoly?
All right, roll it, Libby, the round phone scrambler. And then smack on Ron to start us out. Ron, you're on the Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. Let's go with A.
Correctamundo. 1 point going for 2.
And congratulations. Did you guys actually end up finishing second last week after you complained so much?
Well, we did. And I also found out that the Raiders won their opener in 2023.
Oh, who cares?
Okay.
All right. Anyway, here we go.
Lubie, was there a steward's inquiry on the live trivia?
They had a question about one of the professor's things about elements or something like that, but that's all right.
I was in Mexico.
Enjoy that $15. Here we go. NBA, true or false? The night Wilt Chamberlain amassed his 100 points in Hershey, Pennsylvania, he almost did not play that night, having gotten stomach sickness from touring the chocolate factory and the smell of the cocoa beans. True or false?
False.
Yeah, that's false.
That's false. That's a good one. You had me leaning a little bit.
I played golf out there, and believe it, on the golf course, you can actually smell the cocoa beans from Hershey.
It's a lot better than the smell at the golf course in Merrick, Long Island, which was next to the garbage dump.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It was led to believe it was going to be a university where they're putting that in under by a new development. I thought you were going to ask about his free throw shooting percentage in that game, which I believe was
28 for 32.
Yeah, that was incredible. All right, 1 going for 4.
All right, NFL. 2 weeks after 9/11, both the Jets.
He got that one right.
He got it right. He said false. It was false.
He got it. He got 2 points.
2 for 2 going for 5.
Right.
Yes.
2 weeks after 9/11, both the Jets and the Giants won their road games, being cheered by the home teams, even though they were on the road. The Jets beat the Patriots, and the Giants beat
Ooh, that's a tough
the
one.
Lions, the Raiders, the Chiefs, or the Bears.
Let's go. I don't know. The Bears.
You're right. You don't know. Chiefs. It was the Chiefs.
That was a positive. I don't know where you found that one. All right. You now have 2 going for 7, Ronnie.
All right, tennis. On this date in 1977, Jimmy Connors lost in the finals of the U.S. Open to
Ooh.
Ilie Nastase, Bjorn Borg, Guillermo Vilas, or Pat Cash.
Jesus.
Ilie Nastase.
Ilie.
No, Jeff?
I'm going to go. What were the choices again?
It was Bjorn Borg, Guillermo Vilas, or Pat
I'm going
Cash.
to say Vilas.
That's right.
Yes.
Guillermo Vilas.
Yeah.
You got
Good,
2. Run.
Yeah, was he a lefty, Vilas? I want to say he was a left-hander also. So,
Cash,
was it Crickstein that he beat to get to the finals? Aaron Crickstein,
that's
young
next
Aaron
week's
Crickstein.
question.
That was like a classic matchup where he was screaming at the crowd and everything, and Crickstein looked shell-shocked, couldn't handle it. All right, next week, unbelievable. He ends up with 2 points.
Yeah,
What's up?
playing around.
954-417-0070. Aroma's a big thing with cigars. Dave Gurggles Gergely, and I'm not a cigar smoker. I do appreciate the people that do anything and are craftsmen at what they do, and of course, friendship with Nick Perdomo, much like you did. Maybe not to the extent that you did, but I got to know him, and he was always a big advocate of sports talk radio, and very, very much of a gentleman. And yet, certain cigars have an aroma that is so negative. I mean, so overwhelming for the non-cigar smoker that I was out in Vegas and this guy was puffing on a cigar and he thought it was a real fine blend of tobaccos or whatever. And I had to get up from the table and walk away. And that's never the case with Perdomo.
No, Perdomo.
It hits me just like the sweet smell of some sensimilla marijuana.
They're a little more sophisticated too.
Yeah.
Perdomo cigar smokers, they don't blow it in your face. They
Yeah.
enjoy it themselves. But yeah, we'll talk more about Nick as we get into the program. Although he's going to be a grandfather again, and it is going to be Nick the third. So his son Nick Jr. and his lovely wife's going to have a little baby boy. So there's another Perdomo to carry on the tradition.
Nice. All right, very good. All right, Dave, always an advocate of Perdomo cigars, but we're ready for our next player, the next set of questions.
Okay, here we go. College football. This USC head coach, after the Notre Dame team received a few controversial calls, said, "I'm not surprised. The referee is a fine Catholic fellow by the name of Patrick McMurphy." John McKay, Fay Ray, Aldo Ray, or Ray Walston?
I loved McKay. I got to cover some games that McKay was when he was still coaching at USC. He was always a riot. All right, here's the scrambler lands on Mike. Mike, you're up next on the Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'll go with A.
Correct again. One for one, going for two.
Baseball, Mike, true or false? Hall of Famer, former Marlin, former Cub, former Montreal Expo, Andre Dawson is the owner-operator of Paradise Memorial Funeral Home. True or false?
Wow.
Oh, that's true. True.
Yeah.
True.
Right. He's a mortician. He and his wife own the funeral home. Rumor has it he sends all his Christmas cards and signs them, "Eventually yours."
Hawk, man. What a great guy. Quiet brilliance coming from the Hawk there. Very humble individual. 2 for 2, going for 5.
All right, football, Mike. J.J. McCarthy became the first starting quarterback to record a comeback of 10 points or greater in his first NFL start since Burt Jones, Warren Moon, Eli Manning, or Steve Young?
Warren Moon.
Moon.
I'll go back to 1985, Steve Young.
Steve Young. That was my original thought, but unfortunately, Mike, you didn't have that one, but you're going for 7 in the lead.
All right, Mike, another 9/11 question. 10 days after the 9/11, the Mets, you may remember, Mike Piazza hit a game-winning home run versus what team? Was it the Phillies, the Braves, the Reds, or the Astros?
Red.
No, it was the Braves, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Braves,
Mike may be in the finals.
Yeah, real tough on these people so far today, Dave Gurggles Gergely. 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. As long as we're looking at Gurggles, I mean, today, New York racing resumes after the Saratoga meet, and it's going to be Belmont and Aqueduct. And my question is, this isn't trivia, just factual knowledge. When is Belmont itself scheduled to reopen? Do we know?
It's sometime.
Seems like it's been a while.
Late 2026, maybe the fall meet.
Really? That far away?
That's what I heard, anyway.
Okay, all right.
But now I'm glad Kentucky Downs is over. We've had enough of that.
Oh, really? You didn't fare well there?
Well, I did actually. I hit a pick 5 with a jockey from Horseshoe, Indianapolis, named J.D. Ramos on a $44 horse.
Woo.
And I had 2 going to 2 in the last 2 races. I win the first race. Now I'm alive with the 7 and the 11. And at the top of the stretch, there's a leader. Here comes the 7 with the 11 right behind him. The 7 got up at I think he was 5-2.
Wow.
And I figure, well, this is going to be a couple bucks. The pick 5 came back 7,700.
Woo!
Yeah.
Nice. I hope you had that by yourself there.
I did. I gave a couple gifts out to some friends who had been partners at other times. So say, hey, you dropped this 100. Here you go. Put it in your pocket.
All right, very good. Way to go, Gurggles. I mean, you fared far better than I did. I'm still ice cold. I had one winning day on the last 7, which that one winning day did not make up for the other 6. So it was a big string of zeros there coming my way, and you're cashing for 8 times. Very, very, very nice. All right, 954-417-0070 on the phone lines. We have nobody with a total worthy of being in the finals, and we're going to play one more player before we get to that situation. So we'll have to qualify somebody who was otherwise unqualified. That's a very common thing in politics today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the Senate hearings with Robert F. Jr., but that was a little bit frightening. So here we go. Dave Gurggles Gergely, our next set of questions.
Boxing. This trainer on the discipline of his fighter, Andrew Galata, said he's a guy who gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning, regardless of what time it is.
I love that.
Lou Duva, Lou Costello, Larry Costello, or Larry the Leaper?
It's better to land on the random phone scrambler and handle that particular quote. Then our good friend Andy. Andy, you're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, sir.
My brothers, I would say, I think it's Larry the Leaper, but I'll go with A.
Good choice.
Lou Duva, man. Had a bunch of good ones. All right, 1 point going for 2.
All right, horse racing, true or false, Andy? Sam Goldwyn of MGM brought Mickey Rooney to Hollywood after meeting Mickey at Del Mar Racetrack, where he was a stable boy for the trainer of some of Goldwyn's horses. True or false?
That would make sense, but I would say false.
Let's say true. It is false.
Yeah.
Was Mickey Rooney an exercise rider or something?
No, we made that up.
Yeah. He looks like a jockey. All right. All right. Very good, Andy. 2 for 2. Everybody's gotten the true-false question, but nothing after that. So here we go.
All right, NFL, Andy, your 3-point question. The last time the Dolphins scored less than 10 points in a season opener, they lost to whom?
Ooh.
The Jets, the Seahawks, the Patriots, or the Texans?
Patriots.
That's what I would have said.
No. 2012, they lost 30-9 at Houston to the Texans.
Okay. Chris Perkins went through a series of horrifying Dolphin defeats during the time that he's been covering the team yesterday, because we thought maybe this was a season opener, the worst performance in recent Dolphin history or over the last 20 or so years. And he came up with any number of examples. So McDaniel was wrong. That wasn't as bad as it could get. All right, going for 7 points here, Andy, in the lead and a spot in the finals.
All right, Andy. On this day in sports history in 1927, Babe Ruth hit his 50th home run on the way to number 60 versus this team. Was it the St. Louis Browns, the Baltimore Orioles, the Boston Red Sox, or the Philadelphia Athletics?
All right, we can have a triple tie at 2 points there.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Athletics.
You're right. You got a triple tie. It was the St. Louis Browns.
Well, that was an exercise in futility, but we're going to go ahead and scramble our way to picking 2 people to be in the finals. While we do that, Dave, let's get the official word on Perdomo Cigars.
Yeah, we're getting ready to open for our members here in October, 33 days a week, and we got our St. Jude's tournament coming up October 24th. I want to thank the folks at Solstice Health. They've donated for our auction a suite with four tickets and food and beverage to be used as an auction item for St. Jude's. So that'll be a big deal for us. We sell Perdomo cigars right here, but you can get them while we're not open yet, right down the road, 5150 Northwest 167th Street, just a little bit east of the Home Depot on the south side. Go in there. Bruce, retired police officer, is their concierge. He's a big, knowledgeable cigar fan. He'll help you with your choices, whether it's the one I like, the mild Lot 23, or whether it's a full-bodied Maduro 20th anniversary. They make them perfect one at a time. So there's no occasion you need to make a Perdomo cigar a gift for someone in your life or for yourself. Go see them. They're open 9 to 6 every day, Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday, you want a Perdomo cigar? Go online, www.perdomocigars.com, to find a retailer near you that sells these great Perdomo cigars. My Perdomo parlay actually is a teaser parlay this week.
Okay.
And I already have it in my hand here.
What are we talking about?
Called the Hard Rock.
6 points.
I have got the Cowboys plus 1.5 versus the Giants, 6-point teaser. I've got the Cardinals plus 0.5 point versus the Carolina Panthers. And I've got the Bengals plus 4 versus the Jaguar. That's my Perdomo 3-team teaser this week. Last week I won on my teaser, and every one of them didn't cover on their own. I had the Eagles, the Steelers, and the Bengals, and I needed the 6 points in every one of them.
Very good. What'd that pay, by the way?
It was 7-5, so it wasn't bad.
All right. Well, with that 7,700 that you pocketed on that.
Yeah, I put 20 on it. What do I know about football?
There you go. All right, Lubie, are we set for the finals? What are we looking at here? You're scrambling. Okay.
Yes.
Who'd you come up with?
Andy Man versus Mike is our finals. Andy Man versus Mike.
Okay. That's
They're
where
on
we're
the
going to
line
roll.
too, magically.
Very good. And Dave's going to fire off the question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first chance. We go back and forth until we have a winner for the championship of this week's edition of the Trivia Challenge. Here is the great Dave Gurggles Gergely.
All right, guys. Golf. We know next week is the Ryder Cup. Well, we want to know what golf course was the site of the last time the U.S. won on foreign soil in the Ryder Cup.
All right. Anybody? Here's multiple choice.
Was it Glen Eagles, the K Club, Valderrama, or the Belfry?
Anyone?
Mike.
Where you got
Mike.
Yes.
Galderrama.
Valderrama.
No, that's in Spain, but no, that's incorrect.
Okay. 3 left for Andy.
Andy, was it Glen Eagles, the
I'll
K
go-
Club, or the Belfry?
I'll go with the Jordan Belfry.
Correct. All right.
1993, they won on the Belfry, and then just before that, they tied at the Belfry over in England. Way to go, Andy.
Nice job. Andy wins the Landlubber's gift certificate, and he's likely to make good use of it because he's always active
every week. We
and attending the Lubie live trivia competition that takes place at Landlubbers with the professor, deemed by most, and these are some serious trivia players, as evidenced by the fact that Lenny was going with his crew there, the Chronics, for so many years, and deemed to be one of the best, if not the best, of its type.
Yeah, I saw Alex. I met Alex Sofreen last week when I was subbing for Mike, and he said he still has things come down from heaven with certificates that has Lenny's name on them. So
Was Lenny buried with a bunch of those $25 gift certificates? What do you think?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Some grave robber is likely to just exhume the body there for the certificates alone. Anyway, great job, Gurggles. Where are you off to? The golf season is cranking up, so
we're getting ready. So I've got to send out some more stuff. We got a weekend stay at Turnberry. I've got some up in Central Florida. We're doing some exchanges for their charity events and ours, and we're getting ready for St. Jude's, where we raised $1 million over the last 24 years, and that's a big event. And I did a Beat the Broadcaster last week, and I had my cane with me. So
did you use it to hit the ball?
Yeah, they felt a little sympathy for me. After hitting about 6 of them, there was 30 groups, I think, or 16 groups. I put a ball in the fringe and say, "There's my shot. Go beat it."
Nice. Under the circumstances, how's the recovery going? Obviously,
coming along. I just finished all my therapy, so now I got to go to the gym on my own, and I'm doing a lot of swimming, which is really good in the pool.
Good job.
And I've got a cane that has 4 little stoppers on the bottom, so I put some duct tape on to pick up tickets at those. Mike, welcome back.
One of those little snatcher things that they use to pick up the garbage.
No.
Park,
welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your getaway.
And
we look forward to the arrival of Luca.
Little Luca.
Luca Panici Lubitz, right around the corner. Dave, we love you, man. Thanks.
All right, Jeff.
Always great. Dave
happy.
Gurgley, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Lubie, that was fun. Good job by Andy coming through there, even though we kind of were all stifferoo in terms of answering the meat and potatoes questions. Those were tough, though. I mean, who remembers who a team played 9/11 like 24 years ago? That'd be a very, very difficult assignment. All right, a bunch of stuff happening all around the globe. Speaking of golf, as Gurggles mentioned, you do have. I love the approach. The American, are we just totally uptight in America? A guy said something to me many, many years ago. It was probably the best piece of advice I ever got from anybody, including even my own father, who was brilliant in this regard. And it was a friend of mine, a guy named Albert. He was one of these sort of Renaissance types at a time in the hippy dippy era where people were into all kinds of existential thought processes. And he looked at me one day, and I was, maybe 18 years old. And he just looked at me and said, "Let go." And I think if you took that advice, Lubie, it would be. I mean, if you apply it to virtually anything, if you just let go, things start to get a whole lot better. No matter what it is that you're holding on to, just let go and let things transpire and take it for what it is. And in in this case, I mean, you have to let go of some of the negativity that surrounds you. And now the Americans going into this Ryder Cup, how uptight are they, man? I mean, they're all playing in this tournament in Napa. Scotty Scheffler, by the way, it's getting underway today, and Scotty Scheffler is 2-1 to win the tournament. And almost everybody who's on the American team is playing in this thing because it's under the theory that they weren't really competitive in the last Ryder Cup a couple of years ago because all of them had taken a lengthy time off from the last tournament they played. And meanwhile, the Europeans were in action, so they were much sharper. And the Americans got slaughtered right out of the chute. They were down like some ridiculous, insurmountable margin after day number one, practically. But contrast that with the European approach, right? Tyrrell Hatton, who we saw with that big meltdown at the U.S. Open. Remember the U.S. Open at the end there when J.J. Spaun won and it was pouring rain, and Hatton was forced to play a bunch of shots that were extremely compromising, and he ended up hacking up the locker room, and people were all upset with him over that. So he gets named to the European Ryder Cup team, and what does he do? He goes out on like a 3-day bender with John Rahm, and now is telling the story about how wasted they were in celebration over the fact that he made a team. So who's in better shape to win this Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black? The Europeans who have completely let go and just take things as they come, or the uptight, squeezing their Sandsabelt slacks Americans who KLF and Irwin going into this thing? I don't know. What would be your approach? Should you take it as some kind of professional, sanctimonious event, or just do like these rogue Europeans do and go out there and let yourself go? What would you think, Libby? Who's in better shape?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, obviously, it's not the Americans. The Americans keep putting the pressure on themselves, and they keep having the same results. They have plenty of talent in the American pool. They make this bigger than it is. Just go and do what you guys do each and every week. It's weird how they get so tight with this event.
Everybody's so uptight. My God, whether Keegan Bradley should play, he can't play and fill out a lineup card at the same time. What happened to a player coach, man? Holy Dave Cowens. I mean, should he not be able to go ahead and participate in the event and at the same time going, oh, I tell you what, I mean, doesn't everybody pretty much play? I know the matchups are supposed to be a big thing, but how do you know how the guy's going to perform? So if you put DeChambeau out there against Shane Lowry, is that going to be some big mistake? I don't know. It seems to me that there is no defense in golf, so whoever's playing well is going to end up the winner. Now, if they were smart, they'd be taking a couple of these Joe B's capsules. Forget about going out there in the Napa Valley, which they're in wine country, not even drinking because they're so focused on this Ryder Cup. Joe B's 2 capsules every day. Bee pollen, man. Couldn't be any better for you. You're just going to feel better. It's going to energize you. It's going to make you feel great. It's going to help your immune system. It's going to give you all these essential nutrients and vitamins and minerals, amino acids, enzymes, proteins, just about everything you need. And you've done this before you even have breakfast. You know, I always say, here comes, I'm rooting for my horses at the track, and it's like 7:05 for breakfast. For breakfast, this would be the thing to do before you even get started consuming food. Joe B's, 2 capsules every day. The benefits of bee pollen well documented, and all you have to do to find out more about it, joebees.com. And it's an even better deal than I thought, Louis, because it's not only a 6-month supply of these great capsules for just $100. I think it's $99, but you get a 7th month free. So you're getting 7 months of this stuff for $99 with a fully guaranteed 100% money-back guarantee. Call at 877-300-5632 to order, or log on to joebees.com and start turning your life around. Never mind all these chemicals and things and you may be able to drop a lot of your medications if you just improve your overall well-being by taking advantage of the incredible health value that's involved in these bee pollen capsules. And you'll notice a difference. It may be different for a lot of people. It's not like it's overwhelming change, like you just smoked a joint or something, but you'll feel it over time. And, if you give it to 6 months, I pretty much would guarantee you that you're going to want to order another 6 months right away. That's after the 7th month that you got for free. And we don't want to forget about our good friends at Laspada's Original Hoagies. See, now do you hear that, Lubie? Can you hear that in the background? There's a Laspada's in my fridge calling my name. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Defo. And it's odd because the Mustang actually got this for herself. She's a big fan of the chicken salad. Don't sleep on the chicken and tuna salad at Laspada's Original Hoagies. People always think of that big pile of roast beef that you see, or the Mama Laspada, or the Monster, the Italian. But I'm a big fan of the tuna, as you know. And the chicken salad is as good as any that you will have anywhere, and it's just absolutely perfect. So she actually hides it in a one of those vegetable drawers that I never opened. So, and that's where it is. But I saw it. I saw it through the other drawer as I was like going to get some kind of meat for the dogs here. And there it was. And it's calling my name right now. 5 locations. Laspada's Original Hoagies. The freshness of the vegetables and the sharpness of some of the things. I'm a big fan of not too heavy a dose of hot peppers. You don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't know. Remember when we had that pizza at the pizza spot and it had the cherry bomb peppers that Mayo was a big fan of? And I thought, well, that's great because I like spicy stuff, but I don't necessarily like it, too heavily done, especially in a sandwich, because it overwhelms all the other flavors that are there. These are perfect. I mean, the way they put things together, just absolutely amazing. There's no substitute for great ingredients. And the people have spoken, voted the number one hoagie sandwich, sub sandwich anywhere in South Florida against some very, very good and distinguished competition. So the people have gone ahead and decided Laspada's is number one, been around over 50 years. Laspada's Original Hoagies, 5 locations. And just a mere mention. Don't you immediately start thinking about going and getting one? Just at the mere mention.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Freaking great. And with the football season here, let's say you're having 10, 12 people over the house. You can get a few Laspada's subs, get the large ones, have them cut it into quarters, and everybody's going to be satisfied. And there's even enough there for people to go back for seconds. So it's absolutely great. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow as we get ready for who do you like in the game tonight, Lubie? I sort of like Green Bay, but it's a very tepid choice there. And I'm not sure I enjoy laying 3 in a hook, but I'm going to go ahead and do it as my official pick in this game. Green Bay looked so great in their opening game. And throttling the Detroit Lions. That was one of my questions. Are the Lions just going to be awful this year because they don't have their coordinators? I don't believe that. And yet Jaden Daniels comes in off that win over the Giants. What do you think? Can the Commanders go to Lambeau and be within 3.5 of the Green Bay Packers, or even
a hook? I could see them covering, but the Packers are already a good team, and then you go and you add Parsons. They're a scary group, and it's now year 3 of Jordan Love being a starting quarterback. Made playoffs. He's won playoff games. So, yeah, the Packers are that team that are, I think, going to nip at the heels of the Eagles. And
they look great.
The Commanders are a team people want to fall in love with, and I don't know. I have a lot of concerns.
You thought Daniels was going to bounce this year.
I just think that year 2 of a quarterback, we've seen a lot of these guys go backwards because teams now have film on them, and he likes to run and chuck. And those are the things that NFL defenses usually take away from you. And the Packers feel like one of those defenses that could probably do that. So, yes, it feels like a Packers win in that game tonight.
All right. What about the 3 in a hook?
I would go back. Yeah, I would go Packers. I think they'll cover.
Okay. I see the Packers winning this game by more than 3.5. I don't know. The dagger, I mean, the hook is like a gaff, as we've often said there. I mean, it may as well be a machete just landing right on your neck. A lot of times. Are they a field goal better than the Commanders? I'm going to say yes. I think they've been infused by a real dose of enthusiasm because of the fact that it looks like their front office and coaching staff put the investment in this year's team by making that deal. Obviously, they did because they traded away 2 first-round picks and also a player, a defensive tackle that was of some significance. But I mean, when you go out and make that acquisition, that's a bold acquisition, is it not? And an effective one, you would think, with Michael Parsons. And if I'm Never mind the message sent by Aaron Glenn by cutting this poor schmuck who fumbled a kickoff return. I believe that was a stronger message sent to the Green Bay Packers by their organization that we're all in this year, and I think Parsons is going to provide a spark. I'm going to go ahead and lay the 3.5 like a schmuck with the Green Bay Packers tonight at Lambeau Field. Tomorrow now we'll have the commissioner on, Randy Gordon, plus a professor. Randy Gordon, of course, a longtime commissioner of the New York State Athletic Association, and also, for how many years has this guy been a commentator on boxing? He's a great guy. He's going to join us tomorrow and give us his analysis and insight into Canelo and Terrence Crawford, which is the biggest fight that we've seen in some time. And I am torn on that one, much like I'm torn between two cities on the USF game.
Yeah.
I don't believe that South Florida will beat the University of Miami, but will they be within 17 and a half?
I think that spread's insane.
In some sick, perverted way, as much as I was associated with the program, just to continue to further and drive our point home about Cristobal, I mean, I shouldn't say this, right? We have many fans out there, but how wild would it be if USF pulled off a third straight upset? Now that they're a ranked team themselves.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would be interesting. I don't see them winning, but I do see it being tighter than that spread. I don't like that spread at all. I mean, again, and I the minute Cristobal proves me wrong, I'll give him the credit. He has yet to prove me wrong. Like, games are always tighter than they need to be.
Sure.
As coach, they just are. You don't
Yeah,
want to
I think he can leave anybody in there. If they were playing FAU or FIU, who play in the Shula Bowl, I think Cristobal still would give them a shot to be in this that ball game. So we'll see. But it's almost unanimous. Everybody likes to crush them like a grape, which they did eventually last year. The final last year was 51-15. I didn't realize that because it was 21-15 at halftime, and then exploded in the second half. But the ineptitude in preparation, are you listening, Mike McDaniel, is also a characteristic of one Mario Cristobal. So we have out of 7 handicappers, Lubie, in my New York Post grid, one guy has South Florida. Oh, Howie Kasoya is off to a lousy start this season at 12-18. He has South Florida as one of his best bets, as does a guy named Ethan Sears. And everybody else has Miami to cover the spread.
Well, they're doing the Notre Dame thing, but people don't realize Notre Dame had a guy who was making his first start ever on the road at night. And it was actually a rare occasion where was very well represented at that game. Yeah. And even then, by the second half, the kid settled in very nicely. That you would think, there's a veteran who was playing like this at the beginning. Miami only won by 3, and Notre Dame had a chance at the end to come back and tie or win. Like, they're doing the thing where they beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame's top 10. Who does USF beat? Well, USF beat the crap out of it. And they went into Gainesville and were in that game. Yes, the spitting allowed them to get a second chance and win, but they were controlling that game for most of the game in Gainesville. Like, people do this thing.
Good all the way.
Well, and then they love to pile on giving them credit, which is fine. And USF is just one of those teams that they're not going to believe it until they see it again, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not sure I believe in them either, but I believe in them enough to take the 17 and a hook.
I like that spread.
Yeah.
They just don't.
All right, very good. All right, we'll have more on that tomorrow. And, of course, we want you guys to have the best of days. It looks like it's nice out for a while, but this stuff has been piling up. That was some rainstorm yesterday.
Yesterday was crazy.
I don't know what it was like all over town, but certainly where we were in Lauderdale by the Sea, right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My God. And I got caught in one a couple of days ago on the Walk of Life. Last half mile was in a torrential downpour. Lightning overhead, Lubie. What do? Do you duck out or do you go ahead and brave it if you're walking somewhere or you're outside? I mean, if you're somewhere where you can take cover, don't you do it immediately? But if you were like me, I'm just walking. I got a half mile to go to get home. And torrential downpour. And then you see those flashes of lightning right overhead. Not the big bolts, but the flashes. What's your strategy on that? Do you get off the streets and wait it out for like a half hour, or what would you do? Or do you just risk it figuring this out?
I mean, it usually happens to me when I'm walking my dog and he enjoys it. So
the dog likes it? Oh my God.
He loves the rain. Yeah, Wolf's weird. Wolf gets like excited when it's raining. He'll extend walks in the rain. Where most dogs are like don't want to go or turn around. He's like, I call him the all-terrain dog. He like loves it. He doesn't care what the weather is. He's
a wolf.
He pretty much is. So I actually can answer this question, and it happens often. And every time I just walk in the rain.
Oh, nice. Scared me enough to actually stop for a couple of minutes. I was practically home. I was out like at what used to be a guard gate outside my place here. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to go. It's like 0.2 of a mile left to go once I get to my place. And I thought, I'm not even going to do that. And I was already soaked, so it didn't matter about the rain. But the lightning scares the living daylights out of me. All right, we're going to get out of here. And hopefully we won't be frightened tomorrow, because we'll be right back with some bold stuff coming from the Commissioner, Randy Gordon, and the Professor on the next edition of the Defo Show. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. You guys have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
Lightning scares me, Lubie. I wasn't scared of it.
Lightning is scary.
We used to play golf out there under the whole Lee Trevino thing that not even God could hit a 1-iron. And we would just stay out there. We didn't give a flying one. And then you start seeing guys get fried, and you're thinking, I don't want to end up like that. All right, it is 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my